All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. Now, the New York Giants right now are on cloud nine as they pulled off the upset today over the Seattle Seahawks. The Giants went on the road and defeated the Seahawks 17-12 in a defensive struggle for their fourth consecutive win. The Giants are now 5-7. And depending on how things play out for the rest of this weekend, they could have a very firm control on first place in the NFC East. The Giants were down in this contest 5-0 at the half, but they set the tone to start the second half as they got their ground game going. Running back Wayne Gallman finished the contest with 135 yards on 16 carries. It was a lot of physicality that we saw from this Giants offensive line, as it was old school football, as we basically saw the student body right and student body left plays be very successful for the Giants, and they really had some tremendous success running on behind the left side of that offensive line. It really helped things for backup quarterback Colt McCoy. He wasn't great, but he was effective as he was 13 of 22 passing for a $105 with one touchdown and one pick. But, kudos to this Giants defense as they really stepped up today. 5 sacks, 1 interception, and a fumble recovery. And all afternoon long, they made life tough for Seahawks All-Pro quarterback Russell Wilson. He never got comfortable, never got into a rhythm, and then we've known Wilson over the years where he can scramble out of the pocket and make things happen for his receivers down the field. Every single time that Wilson got out of that pocket, there was at least one Giant defender in his face, turning him back, forcing him to throw the football away. We saw one intentional grounding call on Wilson in this contest. And, it started with the defensive line led by Leonard Williams. They were getting tremendous push up front versus the Seahawks offensive line, keeping Wilson uncomfortable. We saw great plays in the secondary from the likes of James Bradbury and Logan Ryan as they were very active back there. And, this Giants defense has really not gotten enough credit throughout the season. They've been a bend but don't break unit, but we saw them step up today when their team needed them the most. Why? Because, of course, starting quarterback Daniel Jones is out right now with a hamstring injury, and a lot of people wrote this Giants club off going out west for that 6-hour flight to take on the Seahawks. But you know what? They went out there, they stepped up, they knew that they were a man down, but hey, you know what? It was the next man up philosophy, and that right there is a credit to Joe Judge, the Giants head coach. The Giants began this season with a record of 1-7, but it wasn't like they were getting blown out in most of their contests. They were right there. They were over the hump. They couldn't get over the hump, as this is a young team that was still trying to figure out how to win. But now that the Giants are figuring out how to win, now they understand what it takes to close out these close games. And with that said, it's a different guy every week stepping up to make a play. Last week we saw it with Leonard Williams and Jabal Sheard making the pressure to get the win versus the Cincinnati Bengals. We've seen this defense step up with key plays in their 2 wins versus the Washington football team. And the same thing can be said with the Giants' victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. And you look at the Giants right now, and their chances of winning this division just went to another level. Why? Because we saw the Philadelphia Eagles today lose to the Green Bay Packers. Dallas still has to play Baltimore, and then Washington has to play Pittsburgh. Right now, more and more, it's looking like a 2-team race between the Giants and Washington. But let's not forget, if the Giants and Washington finish tied, the Giants get the edge due to the fact the Giants swept the season series. But you're looking at a situation now where if Washington goes out there and loses to Pittsburgh, now the Giants technically have a 2-game advantage over Washington. Dallas will definitely have their hands full with Baltimore, especially if Lamar Jackson is back under center for the Ravens. So you're looking at the Giants right now. I know that their schedule still is not easy. Only one team that they have to face for the rest of the way currently has a losing record. But you're looking at the way these teams are playing right now. The Giants will host the Arizona Cardinals this coming Sunday at the Meadowlands. And we've seen how the Arizona Cardinals, after a strong start, they're faltering. They lost again today at home to the Los Angeles Rams. The Cleveland Browns, they're going to be tough. The Baltimore Ravens will be tough. And then the Giants have to finish out at home versus Dallas, which will not be easy. But I guarantee you, Joe Judge will remind his team of the fact that, hey, Dallas got away with a win earlier this season. But you look at this Giants team and, Joe Judge has his finger on the pulse of this club. At 1-7, they never gave up. They kept chopping away. They kept finding a way. And now when the Giants started to win contest, it made it easier for Joe Judge to go in there and talk about what he's trying to sell this team on. And it looks like every man in that locker room believes what Joe Judge is selling. And it's one of those situations where, you know what, they go out there, they play hard every single week. They're a disciplined club. They don't beat themselves. And that's key. And it was a big win today. Why? Because now you look at the Giants historically. The Giants have not done well in Seattle versus the Seahawks. I know that there aren't fans there right now, but, you know, you still got to give them credit going in there with a backup quarterback. But on top of that, there's a possibility that both of these clubs could be meeting in January in the postseason. Now with the Giants firmly with the top spot in the NFC East, and the Seahawks possibly finishing as a wild card. They could be that fifth seed. They could have to travel to MetLife Stadium to take on the Giants. So, you know, stranger things have happened. But I still say it was a great win for the Giants, a great finish. And that 6-hour plane ride back east is going to be a lot happier, because typically when teams lose heartbreakers or just lose on the West Coast in general and have to fly back east, those flights seem longer after a loss. So that it's definitely going to be a happy flight back for the Giants. They're definitely going to go out there and begin their preparations for the Cardinals. But you know what? This is a stepping stone victory for the Giants. I think they're going to, you know, be able to take the momentum from this and ride it to an NFC East championship. I know that a lot of people were writing off this division and writing off the Giants as well. But you know what? You go out there on the road with a backup quarterback and you beat a team that was coming into today with a first place club, and you go out there and do what you did. You know what? Hats off to you. The Giants really stepped up to play. They were prepared from the opening kickoff. Their defense was ready. They set the tone in the second half with their offensive line and that ground attack. And for Big Blue, they are definitely riding a wave of momentum heading into the stretch run of this season. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to thank all of the subscribers out there. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. Take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.